Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Emanuel Stafilidis, real estate entrepreneur. Emanuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start off at the top, Emanuel. How did you get into the real estate space originally?
I started a long time ago. I purchased a property as an investment. I was quite young at the time, and had it rented out, and then purchased a lot of land and built a home with my then wife, and we moved in and were living in that home and grew the rental portfolio very slowly. This was in Australia. It's very expensive down there, so
Yeah.
real estate there is a difficult business. And I grew a very small portfolio, but knew it was never really going to grow to be something that I could live off, simply because of the expense and the structure down there. And life changed and moved, and I then started looking beyond Australia. And in 2011, I purchased our first property in the U.S. I was living in Australia at the time.
I actually lived in Australia for a year. In 2012, 2013, I lived in Melbourne. Where were you based out of in Australia?
So a lot of my time was in Sydney.
Yeah.
But I was born and raised in Canberra, the capital.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I studied, I don't know if you'll know this school, Swinburne was where I was there for a year.
University.
I actually loved the plug to Australia schools. I liked the Australia higher education system, the way that it was set up, better than the U.S. And that's saying something, because what I felt like was that the professors there were very much integrated into the actual community of the students. Like they would, even undergrad, I was a first year undergrad when I was studying there, so I was 18, and there was regular opportunities for us to have one-on-ones with professors. They seemed as friendly with us as we would expect any member of the community. And then when I came back to the U.S., it was a stark contrast, and I was like, "Whoa, this is a whole different ball game here."
Yeah.
So you were in
Probably-
Australia. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's probably the Australian way of just being a bit laid back and relaxed, and just trying to be part of everyone's life.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
It was really great, Emmanuel. I genuinely, when I came back, because then I went to school in Boston, I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I remember I had a physics question. I went to one-on-one with the physics professor, and he looked at me like I had three heads. And I was like, wow, this is a totally different. Because I remember, Emmanuel, first semester, it was actually my first semester that I studied abroad. I'm over there, and we took a very basic maths course. I learned that in Australia, at least when I was going there, math became maths. So I was taking this maths course, and it was all the basic arithmetic, and the professors were still nonetheless really passionate about it. And it was all interesting to us, and a lot of us were like engineering students, so it was really interesting to see their passion there. But I'm curious because most of my guests who I have on the show are operators in the real estate space in the United States. Many of them got started through hearing about an infomercial or through reading a book, and their strategies were very specific to U.S. real estate. So what was your entry point? How did you educate yourself on this process? Was it in your blood?
Real estate was in my blood. My family was always involved with real estate, and so that was always the vehicle that I was going to use to to grow wealth. As far as investing in the US, it was family. I'd gone through a separation and divorce, and got my second wife, who's my current wife. She's got family here in the US, and our daughter here in the US needed accommodation, and we used a superannuation, which is a retirement fund, similar to a self-directed IRA, and we used that money and purchased a 2-bedroom unit in North Carolina in Raleigh, for her to live in, and the investigations were just pretty typical, just remote.
Right.
You investigate the location and everything to do with buying a typical piece of real estate. I just thought, well, there's not much difference between buying out of a city that you live in another area, or whether it's across the world or the other side of the country. It kind of makes no difference. You've got the same investigations to do, and so I did that, and I was comfortable, and decided to purchase a unit. We held that unit for a few years. It wasn't great. Our daughter lived in it for a little while, and then she moved out, and we rented it out, and then around 2016, we decided to sell it, and we sold that, and we used the money and bought 2 houses in Cleveland, Ohio. In that time, I had investigated a whole lot of different areas to buy in, and for some reason I thought Cleveland was a good area, and
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Let's dive into that. Cleveland. Okay, so I've spoken with investors. I actually just got off a call with an investor in Minnesota. I've spoken with investors on both coasts. Of course, I'm in Texas, so us Texans like to think that this is maybe the hotbed of real estate in the United States. And so you saw Cleveland, Ohio, which many would consider maybe a distressed opportunity. And so you said, I'm going to take a look at this area. What was it about Cleveland that specifically drew your attention?
A few positive articles on the area in bigger pockets
Mm,
at the time. Um, and I dove into the area and just started looking at it. Look, when you look at the US from afar, there are so many markets and so many opportunities. And you look at the amount of money you've got, and you try and make an idea on what may or may not work. And so the articles drew me to that area, and I just investigated it, and I thought, there's a couple of areas in Cleveland that I thought would be positive, and they were, and the areas that we purchased in were very positive, and it worked out quite well, and it's kind of moved into a different type of strategy. They both ended up being rentals, but
mhm.
they were both distressed properties, and we rehabbed them. So we bought them, we rehabbed them, and refinanced them, and rented them out, or
So
rented
you
them and then
rehabbed these
rehabbed them.
properties, and I'm assuming you yourself were not in Cleveland. How did you make the connections with the contractors, and how did that process work doing it fully remotely?
So our real estate agent in Cleveland was a godsend. Her and her husband were actually contractors as well, so they helped us buy the property, and they gave us really good advice on what could be done to the property, and gave us an idea on the rehab and the whole project. And then I engaged her actually to rehab. The first one went really well, and so we decided to move forward on the second one. That one didn't. The rehab didn't go quite so well. Not all her fault. It was some of it was my fault, but uh, got it back on track, and sorted out the problems, and got the house finished and got it rented. And then typical rental um, problems you have with property management, and
Yep.
just and I was remote. I was still in Australia at the time. I moved to the US at the end of 2018. So from in 2016, when we bought these houses and rehab them and got them rented, I went a couple of years of trying to find a decent property manager, fired and hired and fired and hired. And eventually we found a really good property manager, one that I'm, very happy with, Bob Collette up there. He was fantastic. And we kept him for a number of years. And both those houses we just sold in the last 12 months. One sold just a couple of months ago.
So let's talk about coming to the United States 2018. At this point, were you in Virginia when you initially moved?
So Angela's kids live in a little city called Elizabeth City, which is just over the border into North Carolina. And I was living in Sydney at the time. Sydney's 5 million people. It's like New York.
Yeah.
Big bustling city. And my wife said, we're moving to the US, and we'll go live in Elizabeth City. And I kind of laughed and said, 25,000 people, that's not going to work. Um, and so we came just on a holiday, a trip, and looked around, and I found this area. I found Chesapeake and Virginia Beach and the whole Hampton Roads area here in Virginia. And it reminded me of one of the cities that we lived in Australia. It reminded me of Brisbane. So this whole area, and I thought I could make this work. If I could live here, it would be really good. There's a couple of million people in this area. There's like 18 military bases around where I live. It's and the one of the largest military bases the US has is Norfolk, where they
Yeah.
build the ships and maintain all the aircraft carriers and that. I thought if I could, in this area, I could make it work. So when we moved straight into Chesapeake, um, and have loved it ever since. We absolutely love it here. It's a beautiful part of the world, and
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
real estate business is really good and
Yeah.
thriving, and so yeah, it's all been positive.
Now, when you got here, I'm imagining because your of course start and origin in real estate was in Sydney, Australia. You get here, you have your properties in Cleveland, but now that you're here in 2018, are you looking at it as, well, I'm here, I'm going to start really diving in and looking at all the real estate opportunities that I have here in my local area here in Virginia? Or was it still a lot of, let me see where other areas of the country I can look at?
A bit of both. I went to a seminar here in Virginia. There was a local real estate guy who was doing some training, and I thought, we'll start locally and learn. And the person who was putting on the training was a gentleman by the name of Scott Jelinek, and I joined his program. And it's a fantastic program. He's still our mentor today. I talk to him all the time. But the idea of buying real estate, it's completely different mindset to Australia. In Australia, if you haven't got $500,000 to $1 million and access to it, then you just can't buy a house. Here, the idea of buying houses for anywhere between 50,000 and 300,000, and
Yeah.
the median house price around here is 350,000. It's just phenomenal, and our wages are very similar to what we were earning back in Australia. So it was quite eye opening, but I just wanted to dive in, and that's exactly what I did. Was I dived in and started buying and went through all the processes of starting a business from scratch and making it work. And we started with wholesaling. We were wholesaling a few houses, and then we got enough money together, and we got money from a private investor, and we started flipping houses. And so I was running two real estate businesses kind of side by side. One was the long-term hold properties,
Mm-hmm.
and Scott had taught us a new strategy that was different to renting, which I really like, and that's a seller finance model. So we buy houses, own the house, and then we sell it on terms on seller finance, and we make a premium on the sell price and on the interest rate. So so we were doing that, and then at the same time we were also flipping houses as well. So the last few years I've flipped over 40 houses in the last couple of years. So that was one strategy, and then simultaneously we were building the number of houses that we hold, and we've got about 20 odd houses that we hold now.
When I hear all this, Emmanuel, I think about you mentioned seller financing, wholesale, when you were getting started, a lot of creativity when it came to acquisitions. And so this was, it's new for everybody who's in this space, but as someone who, you mentioned this isn't as common at all in Australia at that time, I don't know about today, this was entirely new for you as well.
Absolutely. Completely new. I had never seller financing was whispered in Australia. It was, there's the odd bit. Well, back when I was there was the odd um, transaction that could be done with seller financing, but it really wasn't. Everyone goes. There's four major banks in Australia, and they have 80% of the market and
Hmm.
of the finance market, and everybody goes to one of the big four banks and gets money and goes and buys real estate.
I'm a wholesaler myself, and so when I was first starting out, I didn't come from a real estate background. I didn't know how to. We have the Texas Real Estate Commission out here. I didn't know how to read a TREC contract. I knew nothing. And so when I was starting out, I went to my local RIA, and I'm a big fan of RIAs. Some people say they're great, some people say not so much. I'm personally a big fan because that's how I got started. Um, Paid a bunch of money to go to a conference. That conference pretty much changed my life from the people in the room. It was the people in the room because they were willing to talk to me and explain their business model. And I was like, man, I felt almost in a sense like unworthy because I hadn't done a deal. I didn't know anything about real estate at all. And here I was in the room with these other people. And that really changed. This was 2023, August of 2023. That really just changed the way that I thought about really life, Emmanuel, because at that point in time, I hadn't really put much serious thought to the fact that I could be a real estate operator. I figured that I needed all this money and that, I wasn't from the cloth. My family wasn't involved in it. How was I going to get in? And then at that moment, I said, let me take a look at this wholesale thing in greater detail, and that was the moment that it took off for me.
One thing I love about real estate is the people in it are
Yeah.
very open and they want to help. And if you, if not even if you ask the right questions, if you just ask questions, you'll get answers. And sure, there are some people that'll ridicule you and make fun of you, but that's mostly on social media. But when you're at these meetings and that, you learn so much, and people are willing to to talk and help you and mentor you in one way or another. I got really lucky getting with Scott and in his group. He taught me wholesaling. He taught me the long term hold strategy and the seller finance strategy, and then the rest of it was my own learning and own experiences. It's certainly looking at different groups and reading blogs and learning from all the different areas that you can hear is exactly what I did. I just um, dug into learning as much as I possibly could and then implementing. I got off my butt and I went out and implemented. When I had enough money to flip our first house, there was just no question. It was like instead of we found the house the same way we found the wholesale houses. The houses that we wholesaled, we did our marketing and we went out uh, and found buyers for them and bought them. And the next we had enough money then to flip a house and we had the investor lined up and so found the next house and put it under contract, and instead of wholesaling it, we bought it. We
Yeah.
kept it ourselves and then poured all the money in and rehabbed it. And we were supposed to make $30,000 profit out of that project, and I think we made 7 or something. I mean, but it was our first flip, and I put it down as just a learning experience. It was an education, and I made money out of it. So, but then the flips that came after that. I mean, we basically stopped wholesaling. We just kept
Hmm.
up the same marketing and just started buying houses and pouring all the money into building the business. And it grew from at one stage there we had 15 houses in rehab all at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it, I remember I had to sell a house to get the profit so that I could pay the interest bill the next month. It was like a $40,000 a month interest bill. It was just
Yeah.
It was horrendous. All this grey hair is a result of flipping houses, but it was fantastic. It was. There were not every project was great, and a lot of them were really good. A lot of them were good, but the end result of selling a house that you have totally rehabbed is just the best feeling in the world for me.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Emmanuel, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. That would be the best if you search for me on LinkedIn. That would be it's LinkedIn. Emanuel Stafilidis is my profile. Happy to connect with anyone. And of course, we have our website, capablecapital.net. You can contact me through the website. We've slowed down the flipping, and we're concentrating now on the buy and hold business, and we're working with investors to help us buy those houses, and then we sell them on the seller finance contract, and it works really well for everyone. The investors make really good money, we make good money, and the buyers on the other end get a really good product, and we're solving a real problem in the market.
Emmanuel, thank you so much for coming on and for talking with us about real estate in Cleveland, real estate in Australia, and on your journey. Thank you for hopping on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.